Hello, BookTube. I'm back again with another tag. I just saw this on the Rutenberg Library channel. This is a mid-year book freakout tag. And so let's get started. Number one, the best book you've read so far this year. That would be The Game by Ken Dryden. Ken Dryden was a Montreal Canadian hockey player. He played goalie. He won several Stanley Cups, several MVPs. In fact, he won the Rookie of the Year and the MVP in the first year, and then he promptly retired after only 10 years. And a lot of people are angry at that and said he should be the best goalie ever. And this is actually the best sports book that I've read. And it's probably one of the best sports books out there, because it doesn't give a oh, I'm so famous, I'm so great, look at what I've done type of sports book, sports autobiography. Because Ken Dryden became a lawyer and was a member of the Canadian Parliament. And this book starts out when he is going to retire and leave the game of hockey. And he just looks back on his life of how, the trials, tribulations of what goes on during a player's life. In fact, I'll just read you a little bit. It said, life on the road comes at a price. The energy it gives, the freedom you feel, it takes away, and more. 26 weeks a season, 80 games from plane, bus to plane, to bus to hotel, to bus to arena, to bus to plane, to the league full cities 3 times a week. A rhythm like any other rhythm is one you get used to, except this one is always changing, and you never do. And he goes on to talk about, your arms ache, your legs hurt, you're hungover from fatigue, last night's snack, 5 hours still in your mouth, a shower, a shave, all goes away. 20 minutes later, they're back. Take an afternoon nap to get through the game, a flight, a new hotel. You can't sleep because you slept in the afternoon. And you wear the same suit over and over and over again. And it's like you just reach for a suitcase, inside you find fresh clothes, freshly wrinkled, and what the hell, you grab the old ones, put them on again. In, out, 2 points of the season to go. You're on the run, you never catch up until it's over. It's a very good sports autobiography, I recommend it to anyone. Best sequel. Well, I haven't read any sequels this year, so that would be a no. I haven't done it. New release you haven't read yet. Well, that would be The Lost Pianos of Siberia by Sophie Roberts. This is by Doubleday Press. This book comes out, it was in August, maybe. It's already out in the UK. And so this is the UK version. I've had to order this. I had it on Net Gallery. I requested it for Net Gallery, and they sent it to me. And so I went ahead and ordered the book. This see if I can find something where, back here. Siberia's story is traditionally one of exiles, penal colonies, and unmarked graves. Yet there's another tale to tell. Dotted throughout this remote land are pianos, both grand instruments created during the boom years of the 19th century, and humble Soviet-made uprights that found their way into modest homes. They tell the story of how, ever since entering Russian culture under the influence of Catherine the Great, piano music has run through the country like blood. How these pianos traveled in this snowbound wilderness, first place, is a testament to the noble acts of fortitude by governors, adventurers, and exiles. That stately instruments might still exist, such a hostile landscape is remarkable. that they are still capable of making music far-flung villages is nothing less than a miracle. But this is Siberia, where people can endure the worst of the world, and where music reveals a deep humanity in the last place on earth you would expect to find it. So this is the Lost Pianos of Siberia, and runs around 354 pages. So it's looking forward to reading that. Number 4, the most anticipated release of the second half of the year. There is actually 2 that I'm going to talk about, and both are on my e-readers. And the first one is called Sherlock Holmes and the Ripper of Whitechapel. And I didn't get the author's name when this book comes out. It's supposed to come out in August here in the United States. Those who are Sherlock Holmes fans, which I am not, will probably get the person who is the Ripper of Whitechapel. And the second one is called Wild Thing. And it's artists and rivalries that inspired the golden age of animation by Reed Mitterbauer. It's Mittebullor. This is comes out in December. So it takes place during the golden age of comics. Okay, number 5, biggest disappointment. Well, that would be, the biggest disappointment would be a book by First Actors by C.W. Gordon. And this is supposed to be a biography of Sarah Bernhardt, who is French and was on the stage and then went to America and became into film, silent films. And the problem with the book is that it's all told in first person. And that was the main problem. And there's always a whining type of a person, of a character, and she doesn't trust anybody. Somebody comes from America and offers her a chance to, go to America for free, basically, pay her a lot of money. She was wondering, but she didn't want to do it. And she meets Oscar Wilde in England, and she just blows this other guy off and starts doing other things that she wants to do, and her ego just simply gets in the way. And so it was a very disappointing book. Number 6, biggest surprise, and that would be, and I've talked about this before, that would be Philosopher of the Heart, The Restless Life of Soren Kirkegaard, and this is by Claire Carlisle. I read this on e-reader, and I had to get the hard copy, and by Penguin, and it should be out already, because this is a UK version. Yeah, this is the Random House UK, and because it already came out in the UK, because you have a lot of blurbs from the things like the Irish Times, the Spectator, and Financial Times, and the Times of London. And this is very good. It's surprising because all the time I heard about Kirkegaard is that he's the father of existentialism, and it was against religion and against Christianity. But this is surprising because this book, he was not against religion at all. In fact, he was searching for faith and searching for the fact that the people in Copenhagen were going through what they call an easy believism, and he actually preached against easy believism. And he says one thing here. He said, and now the eternal changes one, this human heart, all this human heart. Why do you not hide in your secret enclosures unknown to others? That would not be the worst, but at times almost unknown to the person himself. It is almost as soon as a person is a few years old, and almost like a grave, this human heart, there lie buried in forgetfulness, the promises, the intentions, the resolutions, complete plans and fragments of plans, and God knows what. Yes, this is how we human beings talk, for we seldom think what we say. We say, there lies God knows what, and we say this half-mindedly, half in wordiness of life. And then it is so frightfully true that God knows what. He knows down to the last detail what you have forgotten, knows what has changed in your remembering. He knows it unchanged, an omniscient one, an eternal changes memory which you cannot escape, least of all in eternity. Frightful. What I just read is totally different than what the later existentialist philosophers come up with, like the gentleman who wrote Waiting for Godot. It's like it's basically waiting for God, and it's a shocking and surprising book. Number 7. Favorite new author. Favorite new author would be Owen Banner. Owen Banner wrote a book called, and I read it on e-readers, and it should be out now. It's called Those Who Hunger. And Those Who Hunger is basically about the Amish in Pennsylvania. And the story takes place where the Amish believe that they are marked. Some are marked with the mark of Cain. Cain slew his brother Abel in Genesis, and then he's given a mark because he believes by God, because he believes that since he has his curse upon him by God, that people will kill him. So God put a mark on him. So the Amish people believe that those who had the mark of Cain are turned into vampires. And it's a very good story. It's very good. Good book, and I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. My reviews on Goodreads about this book. In fact, the author sent me an email telling me how much he appreciated my review of the books. So that's Those Who Hunger by Owen Banner. Number 8, I'm going to skip because it's called Fictional Crush. Number 9, favorite character. That would come from the book that I just mentioned, Those Who Hunger by Owen Banner. There's a gentleman character in that book. His name is Nehemiah Zook, Z-O-K, and he is married to one of the women who has the mark. He is a vampire, and his faith is strengthened a lot. His son broke his arm, and his son Nathaniel broke his arm and ran away from the Amish community. So, and later on in the book, his son comes back to the Amish community. So his son comes back, and instead of rejecting his son, he goes up there and embraces him. And that reminded me of the story, the prodigal son in the Bible. While the others in the Amish community don't, what's the word for it? When someone leaves that community then comes back, they are actually rejected because they left. And so you have that sins that are upon them because they went to another city. But yeah, Nehemiah Zuck. And there's a lot of things that happened where people ask him for forgiveness, and he does right away without bearing a grudge. Number 10, book that made you cry. Well, it's not really a book, but it's a couple of scenes in the book, and that would be one I just talked about, Those Who Hunger. Number 11, book that made you happy. Can't think of one. Sorry. Number 12, beautiful book you bought so far this year. That would probably have to be the cover. And a lot of my books are actually on e-readers, and so so I don't have physical copies of the book. Number 13, books you need to read by the end of the year. Well, I just mentioned a couple of them, that Wild Things, Sherlock Holmes and the Ripper of Whitechapel. There's this one, The Lost Pianos of Siberia, which I just mentioned. There's a couple of others that I have on e-readers that I need to read by before the end of the year, so I can write a review of it, of the book. There's two subscriptions. One is NetGalley, and the other one is Bookscribe. And they have sent me ARCs, or advanced reader copies of the books, and I have several going on at the moment. I have 10 on NetGalley and just 1 on Bookscribe. So that was it. That was the mid-year book freakout tag. If you haven't done this tag, feel free to do it, and thank you very much.